Hello, my name is Shanti Khalsa, and my 8th grade project is about longboarding and the history of skateboarding, or as I like to call it, sidewalk surfing. My mentor's name is Joe. He is the owner of Santa Fe Skate School. This is where I had all my mentoring sessions. This place is personally one of the coolest places in Santa Fe. I hope some of you guys will check it out sometime. I remember always wanting to skateboard. I had a friend that skated and I was definitely jealous. This was about 5th grade, and he skated on a trickboard. He was very good at it and often told me I should learn how. A few days before my birthday, I was standing in the skate school. I was thinking, this is the coolest place ever. My mentor was showing me around. The indoor skate park was something by itself, with the mini half pipe, all the ramps, etc. The shop was awesome, with all the boards, wheels, trucks, and accessories on the wall. It was all so exciting. The next thing I remember is getting 4 lessons from my grandfather for my birthday. It was a good day. I've wanted to learn to longboard for a while. I saw an opportunity in 8th grade and took it. My father and uncles have also had a history of skating when they were in boarding school in India, so I guess it's kind of been through the family. I had thought it'd be a really fun project as well. What I've specifically learned through this project is how to longboard, which was the best part of the project. I also learned about the history of skateboarding and the gender diversity in skating. Both topics were really fun to focus on. I haven't really changed through this project, other than having a new way to exercise. Also, I could get some really sick photos of me with my longboard. It is widely believed that skateboarding started in California. People first made scooters by taking apart roller skates, hammering, gluing, and attaching them to a block of wood, then adding a handle. It was not documented when this really happened. Eventually, someone got brave and decided to take off the handles. Many people say the handles were taken off by some surfers who were bored when there weren't good waves to surf. That's where sidewalk surfing got its awesome name. Eventually, everyone didn't want the handles on their scooter anymore, so skating was very popular. Around 1960 was when the hardware stores and convenience stores sold skateboards. They were usually around $6.99. A good majority of the people who wanted to skateboard went and just bought a skateboard, but the others made them, and that's how a longboard comes into the picture. People would make them however size and shape they wanted. No one was there to say, hey, you can't do that. People who made them usually made them long, like a longboard. Some would have pointy tips on both sides, some only at the end and the back. They would curve the body of the board, putting notches at each end, and do many other things with the board. There have been 3 different kinds of wheels between 1960 to today. Steel wheels were used for skating between 1960 through 1965. They were usually thin and small, very chattery. You couldn't go very fast with them because of how thin they were. Clay wheels were used between 1965 to 1975. They were thicker and bigger. They made it so that the board could go farther without having to use your foot for more momentum. And lastly, the ones we use today, polyurethane. This was used from 1975 through today. These wheels changed skating. They changed everything about skating. They were thick, light, and you didn't need as much momentum to move. Steel was too chattery, small, and made it really hard to ride. Clay was much easier to ride, but was often too heavy to get far, and was very thick, and polyurethane is lighter, makes for a smoother ride, and gets over things a lot easier. Tricks came in early on, but people were a bit more hesitant to do them. The surfers wouldn't wear shoes, and it would hurt a lot if they landed on their bare feet or if their trick didn't work out. So people started wearing shoes. This was a big change. Before, people were very hesitant to do a trick, and once they put on shoes, they were much more confident in themselves. Around then, skaters would skate on uphills and downhills, banks and schoolyards, ditches, and flood control areas. They would jump off the sides or drop in, usually doing a trick when they come back up on the other side, or even when they drop in. People started building ramps, rails, quarter pipes, half pipes, bowls, and much more. Skate parks were built and people started doing 360s, 180s, and their own tricks. Some now known throughout the world, many they kept to themselves. People still make their own kinds of tricks today. There are 2 different kinds of skateboards. There are different variations of the 2, but they were constructed from these boards. There is the skateboard and or trick board. This board is usually smaller than a longboard and is used for tricks, half pipes, and skate parks, but is not usually used for distance or going fast. I mean, of course you can go fast with it, like down a ramp, but it's not meant for going long distance on a road. This skateboard can't exactly go farther and faster because of the smaller slim wheels, and it doesn't turn as easily as a longboard. The type of skating is usually for jumping off things, doing tricks, going down ramps, etc. The longboard has thick wheels and a longer body. The body is more curved and not as flat as a normal board. The longboard is a distance board, or is used for racing. It is used for going long distances, wider turns, and racing. It usually isn't used for tricks because of how much lower the body is to the ground and the bigger wheels. It also isn't as light. This type of skating is for a nice, smooth, comfortable ride. One day, after lessons, I was ready to buy my own longboard. I could either buy one that was used, one already assembled, or I could basically build my own. I chose to build my own. I decided to get a blank board so I could cover the bottom with stickers. I chose a Galaxy grip tape for the top, turquoise trucks, and a bright green wheels. Me and my mom left and returned in 1 hour to pick up the assembled board. I remember seeing it for the first time and thinking, yeah, that's my board. My mom bought me knee pads and I bought the board. Later that night, we went to the rail trail, and I longboarded on my board for the first time. The number of female skaters has gone way up in the past few years, but pro female skaters still see inequalities in their pay and getting sponsored as easily, unlike the male pro skaters. In the 1970s, Cindy Whitehead was one of the best professional American female vert skaters in the pool skate and the halfpipe. She was sponsored by The Sims and was the first female skater to have her own 2-page centerfold in a skateboarding magazine. She made it all the way to the Skateboarding Hall of Fame. Now, despite being on the edge of the industry in skating for decades, the numbers of female skaters has grown enormously. Before, some skating magazines wouldn't have any females upon their pages, some even just rarely. But now they are being recognized a bit more through magazines. In April, Lizzie Armanto was on the front page of the monthly Thrasher magazine. She was also given a 2-page centerfold in the magazine. It has taken a push, but these things are like that. But things are happening like that where females are being more recognized. If the Olympics happened in 2020, this year, female skaters would be able to compete in the new skating division. Organizations are working hard to get female skaters more recognized, and little by little, it's working. Hopefully in the future, female and male skaters will be seen as equals in skating. Sadly, this is one thing I was unable to discuss with my mentor, but I do remember him telling me to look through a Thrasher magazine he had and look for either a female or someone wearing a helmet. And I couldn't find honor either. This was about 5 months ago, but it's still true. I'd usually spend time with my mentor through lessons on longboarding. I would learn how to fall properly, how to turn, how to slow down, how to start moving, obviously, how to go down ramps and hills, etc. We had 1 or 2 sessions where we talked about the history, or the different boards and the differences between them. All of my mentoring sessions were fun. I come to find out that my mentor was quite the advocate and hero in the world of skateboarding. Joe has been advocating and organizing to get skateboarding in the Olympics. First-time Olympic sports gets no funding, nor do the coaches, training facilities, or managers. Joe is seeking to help cover expenses for this trip from the community that has helped him bring his vision this far and now onto a much larger stage where he plans to have a meaningful impact. Twice last year, he had the honor of appearing before the U.S. Olympic Committee on behalf of skateboarding as they sort out who will be the national governing body, oversee the athlete qualification progress, and choose who will be representing the Team USA. This is exciting for the sport and will open up many opportunities for athletes around the world of all genders. In my first mentoring session, I learned how to balance on the board, use my foot to move myself forward, the proper stance, and how to go down a tiny ramp. My second mentoring session, I was much more confident on the board. I learned how to stop or slow down. I learned how to go up and down a bigger ramp and how to properly turn around some cones. My third mentoring session, I had my own board. I learned how to fully turn around and knee slide if I fall. The knee slide has to be done with knee pads, otherwise your knees are going to get very torn up, so don't try without knee pads. The knee slide prevents you from falling really hard. You basically fall onto your knees and slide on the knee pads. Or you can fall small and knee slide with elbows or wrist guards on. You do the same thing but also slide on your elbows and wrists. Either option tears up the front of your shoes, and I've learned that the hard way. My fourth mentoring session, my mentor and I talked about the history of skateboarding, which I've talked about earlier on in my speech. All my mentoring sessions were really fun, and I'm sad that I couldn't have any more because of COVID and all the closures. I want to thank my grandfather for getting me lessons for my birthday, my parents for taking me skating and to the mentoring sessions, also for buying me knee pads and wrist guards, my main lesson teacher, Miss Daisy Barnard, for helping me complete this project, my mentor for being my mentor, and my other grandparents for contributing money to me buying a longboard. This project was really fun to complete, and I couldn't have completed it to the full extent without their contributions. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my project about sidewalk surfing.